All right, welcome back to Time Bomb. This is part two, module three. We're going to finish out just the whole concept of understanding what your time is worth. We're going to do some brainstorming here, but this is really just going to be a lead in into part three. So a lot of the work that you're going to do here is just going to prep you for week three or part three, excuse me. So we're going to talk about more subjective things in this module, and subjective things are a lot harder to measure because it's opinion really, but you can literally measure everything. If you haven't read our blog series or listened to anything else that we've talked about when it comes to measuring, you can measure everything. Go back, read the blogs, listen to whatever we have out there. We've got links for all of that. So make sure that you can do that, because you want to come in with the mindset that you can literally measure. You can assign a cost to throwing the baseball with your kid, whatever it is. So we want you to just start thinking about those things that you do outside of work. And so these are chores and obligations first that we're going to talk about. This is doing laundry, cleaning your house, volunteering with a charity, whatever it is. These are those things that you do outside of work that while you might want to do them, they're more like tasks and chores versus going to the gym, meeting friends for drinks, whatever it is. We're going to just start building a mental list here. Again, we're just kind of getting you thinking about what it is that you're doing outside of work. And hopefully that you have plenty of things that you're doing outside of work and that your list isn't small, because you got to remember to have that work-life balance. So what we're going to do is on the worksheet is we're going to write those down. So again, these are obligations, tasks, things that you have to do, not want to do, kind of have to do. So again, laundry, cooking, cleaning, driving kids around town, visiting parents, volunteering, whatever it is, mowing the lawn. So we're going to start writing those down. We're going to take the top five, or just the first five that you can think of, put them into that list and on the worksheet. And we're going to just kind of start thinking about them in terms of whether or not that you can outsource them, or the things that you just absolutely have to do, or things that you could essentially live out, something you could cut out of your life. So for instance, if life gets too busy and you know, with family, with work, whatever it is, in theory, you could cut out that group that you volunteer with, or put it on pause for 6 months, because you don't, that's not something, it's an obligation, but you don't have to do it. I mean, in theory, you could stop doing laundry. I would recommend against that, but again, that's your call. So just think about that. Speaking of laundry, when you're thinking about like things that could be outsourced or things that you could do, just a quick story. When I was out of college, I had helped up a restaurant, and I was working way too many hours, closing a bar 6 nights a week. And on that seventh day, I was usually working during the day. So working 7 days a week. My life pretty much consisted of waking up around 11 in the morning, getting whatever I could done during the day in terms of like grabbing a bite to eat. If I could, maybe enjoy myself just a bit, and then go to work, close the bar, get home around like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, do it all over the next day. One of the things that I hated doing was laundry, and that's because I had to walk it down the street to the laundromat, sit there and waste a couple hours, and I ended up usually going to the bar while I was doing that. So then I was drinking and spending money and whatever. So found out about this place. It was a little fold and fluff laundromat where I could drop my clothes off, just throw it in a laundry bag, drop it off. And there was this old lady there, sweet old lady who worked there, who for next to nothing, just a couple of dollars plus the cost of the machines, would do your laundry for you and fold it and then dry it, fold it and have it for you. And show up, drop it off, come back a couple hours later, pick it up. Come back the next day, it doesn't matter. And, you can pick it up, give her a tip. So for $12, maybe you could get all of your laundry done. And so that was great. And so I did that. So that's just one of the things that you could think about. It's like, you don't need to do laundry if you can find a very affordable substitute for that. And then, so you want to start thinking about just your quality of life and things that you may want to do outside, want to do, not have to do, want to do outside of work and your obligations. So just start thinking about these, but there's gonna be another section on there where you can start brainstorming that list. And so again, we're going to talk about time spent with friends and family, things, time spent with your kids or going to their events or participating in their lives, whatever it is, taking part in your own sports and hobbies, things that you want to do, if it's working out in the yard or playing group kickball, whatever it is, cooking meals, learning how to cook, teaching yourself how to cook, teaching yourself a new language, anything that's non-work related, anything that is essentially kind of brings a little bit of joy into your life. It improves you as personally or just makes you happy. So just think about that. And you don't want to forget about the potential cost that those things have. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later, because you're not really swapping costs or whatever it is. And you might think that you're double dipping, because it would make sense that way, that, you know, if I'm not working and I'm spending money on a hobby, I'm essentially losing money on one space and I'm spending it somewhere else. But you don't want to think about it that way, because what we're really doing is talking about opportunity cost. You have an hour in the day. You could either make $100 or you could spend $100. You can't make $100 and spend $100 at the same time. So you're not really double dipping in that sense. So it's an opportunity cost. And don't forget that your health and well-being, your mental well-being, your happiness, all of that is worth spending money on. So if it's going out and buying, you know, a new pair of shoes or a new jacket, or joining a local gym, or spending time at charity, you know, doing charity or whatever it is, whatever makes you whole, helps you kind of clear your mind and just make you a better person. Sleep, that's another thing that's important, that all of these things that can kind of round you out and take you away from work are beneficial to work. So you got to think about it that way as well. If you're spending money on a particular hobby, but it's going to, like, it's something that you look forward to, and you're like, oh, okay, you know, I need to work because I want money so I can do the things that I want to do. I want to go on vacation. I want to do this, that, and the other. It kind of helps justify that. And it also just puts you in the right mindset for work, so that you are just a little, like, you're mentally healthy to do everything. You don't want to get burnt out of your own business. So make sure that you're taking care of yourself outside of work. So you're going to have the things that you have to do, the things that you want to do, and then there's going to be some buckets on that list where you're going to sort them out. And the instructions are going to be out there in terms of, you know, just how, like, because we're going to start ranking and prioritizing them in the next part. But this is, again, just going to be a few in each of the different areas, so that we're getting your mind in the right space, so that when you do a full audit of your time, there's no question, like, you know exactly what you're looking for and trying to identify within your schedule. We're going to put a part in there to start assigning dollar amounts to these things. So for instance, if mowing your lawn is a weekly task that you have to do, find out what it would cost to pay somebody to do that. And again, it's not because if it costs $100 a week to, you know, for this lawn service, that doesn't mean that you have to make an extra $100 a week. It doesn't mean you might have to, depending upon what your budget looks like. And if you have budgeting issues, we know a guy named Dwight Heck. He's one of our partners. He can help you out with that. But what you want to do is think about, okay, if I'm not spending that 60, 90 minutes, whatever it is, mowing and edging my lawn, that $100 is spent, yes, but I could get time to relax, or I could spend more time at work, or I could do, you know, whatever it is. So just kind of think about that. And then consider, like, any surplus that you might have in your budget. And really figure out what you want to do with that money. And this is outside of the time audit worksheet. This is more just kind of advice, because you can save that money and hope for an early retirement, or you can spend it now and enjoy your life. That's your call. How you want to live your life is your call. We're not here to tell you how to do that. So just keep that in mind, that you could pinch pennies now and you can retire early. You could pinch pennies now. You could work forever. You could spend money now, enjoy your life now, whatever. You have to make that decision for yourself. And lastly, when we get into part 3, we're going to start assigning some dollar amounts. So you can start doing that now. We'll leave a column. You're going to have to do it again when you get over there, because it's not really going to transfer in terms of the way that what we're talking about now and what parts 3 and 4 are going to talk about. But we'll have that column so you can kind of start estimating what those costs are. And when you think about doing stuff, let's say with your kids, there's not like a cost associated with that really. There's like a price, like, oh, if I could spend $100, I would love to get an extra hour with my kid or whatever. That seems kind of cold, but you also want to think about the fact that spending time with your kid might be quote unquote priceless, but everybody's got a price. And if you need to give your kid a rain check on whatever that particular, bonding time was, because you have to stay late, because you're going to make a huge sale, and that huge sale is going to finance vacations for the next 5 years for your family, you need to make that decision. Is that money worth it, or would you rather get that time, going on a bike ride or something like that? So again, you have to consider that. And it sounds cold, but again, there is a price to everything out there. So on that tab, in the part 2, module 3 tab, we're going to, just to recap, we're going to talk about all the things that we have to do. We're going to bucket them in terms of whether or not we have to do them, or if that can be outsourced, or if we could just live without them. And then we're going to talk about all the stuff that we want to do. And from there, we're going to get into part 3, where we're going to start auditing your time and start adding more tasks on there, because hopefully we can start taking things off your list that you don't need or don't want to do, and start adding things on that are going to help add value, or things that are, things that you want to do. So finish that out. And at the end of part 3, in module 4, we're going to have an entire video dedicated to the entire workbook. So if you're lost, just bear with us. Because when we get there, you'll be able to see me fill out the entire thing and explain why everything is going into where it is. And again, if you have any questions, reach out to us at info@sbpace.com, or you can send us messages through social media. So that's it for module 3 and part 2, and we'll see you in part 3.